We have Weekend Unlimited. The company aggregates and scales small to medium brands primarily in the categories of flower, extracts, and edibles. Weekend Unlimited brands have best-of-class operations, distribution, and strong revenue trajectories, making them ideal candidates for the deployment of capital and expertise through access to technologies, infrastructure, and centralized systems. I'll now turn it over to Weekend Unlimited Director Brian Keane.
Thanks, Phil. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And I'd just like to start off by saying welcome, everybody, and hoping you're having a great show. And thank you for attending my presentation. I always like to do a little bit of an icebreaker because this is what it's all about. I would say that you go into this consumer room here and you walk into that room, what product do you buy? What product do you use? If you haven't used it already, how do you know? And how do you really optimize brands in this space? And how do you turn it really into a lifestyle? I'm going to do a little icebreaker here. Before we even started trading, which is going to be, we're happy to announce, we're officially going to trade on Monday. We were supposed to trade today. Monday will be under the ticker YOLO. And frankly, that's what this is all about. You only live once. Life highs all the time, everywhere. And we're trying to bring fun and excitement and influencers into this space so that we can grow, acquire brands, and really set ourselves aside from all the other companies. If you sat in on some of these presentations today, a lot of these companies have the same thing. They're looking to acquire licenses. They're looking to promote their brands. They're looking to drive revenue, reflect that in the valuation of the company. So I'm a director of the company, Weekend Unlimited. I'm filling in for our CEO because we are trading on Monday, so we had a lot of stuff to do in the headquarters to get up and get trading. So I'm going to play you this little clip. It's one of our acquisitions that it's wholly owned by the Weekend Unlimited, and this goes to show how we are going to execute our plan on really getting visibility, using influencers, artists, and really going out there and having more of experiences and a lifestyle play as opposed to where do I get my shelf space, how do I push a product, how do I get the feedback back. And we're going to deploy capital to acquire brands that are small to medium, that are doing great revenue, but we're going to scale them. And it's all about brands in our mind. So one of our brands is, and one of our operations is Jerome Baker Designs, which I'll get into. But we were happy to see this. It's kind of on a light note. I don't know if you can hear it, but. So that was, that was a little unsolicited plug for us. That bong is fully functional in the new Las Vegas museum called Cannabis. And with the Jerome Baker family of glass making, we have offices in Maui, New York, and Las Vegas. This is again going to draw, consumers to a demographic that likes to use rigs, likes to use bongs, likes to use what we call artwork. And we're going to have a prospective line of products that are going to tail off of that glass business. So I'm going to dive into the presentation. Again, be pretty quick here. Hold on, let me just pull it up. I got it. Yeah, I got it. So, just a little background on our group. We are, this is one of our, I think, fourth or fifth deal. More of our under our merchant banking from our family office out of Vancouver, Stadnick and Partners. We were initially founders of a deal called Supreme Pharmaceuticals, now called Supreme Cannabis, which is a deal that we acquired up in Canada, a greenhouse. We retrofitted it. We got it fully licensed over about a 2-year period. We put the seed money into that deal at a half a penny. We took it public. It's now under the ticker symbol FIRE, and they have a very strong 7 Acres brand. We founded that deal. A lot of our co-investors that invest with us when we lead a deal made a tremendous amount of money in that deal. We also then, our second deal that we seeded is a deal called Friday Night Inc., which just changed its name to 1933 Industries. That's under ticker TGIF. We put the first, I believe, $7.5 million into that deal. They now sit with probably about $40 million in cash, 60 SKUs on the CBD side out of Nevada, fully licensed under infused manufacturing. Canna Hemp brand, they're doing very well. And then we have a traditional cultivation as well as growing into a 160,000 square foot facility that's being built right now. So a lot of cash on hand. We're 1933 is a business that is doing very, very well, and we're very proud of that one as well. So we've had passive investments, initial investments in FSD Pharma, and of course our newest venture, Weekend Unlimited. So of course there's forward-looking statements. I always have to go through this. You know the drill. We do have, and you'll see in the press release on Monday when we begin to trade, we do have 3 wholly owned assets. And we have about 3 to 4 that I'll talk about. And I want to emphasize this. They're under mid to late stage LOIs completed, but we're still going through some due diligence. So I'll briefly talk about them, and then we'll elaborate as we close those going forward. Behind that, we do have a pipeline of about another, I want to say 4 to 6 acquisitions, not only in the traditional space, as I mentioned before, licenses and cultivation, but we want to be vertically integrated to push our brands and move those forward. We're going to start on the West Coast and then move east to states like New Jersey, Florida, of course, and Massachusetts. So moving along. Sorry. So our vision is inspired to play a leadership role in the cannabis industry with integrity, sustainable production. What is a very young industry we feel right now. And we want to position that every demographic that uses our brands or participates in our experiences is going to be high, whether it be on the actual product or having a good time anytime, anywhere. So we're really trying to set ourselves aside on that front. Again, like I said, we will be trading on Monday under the ticker YOLO. We raised pre-money and invested about $18 million at a $35 million valuation. We just raised a quick $5 million overnight last week, $5.4 million at a 20-cent valuation. So we should be coming out at 15 cents, but much higher with the given acquisitions that we're going to be acquiring. So we're looking at initial acquisition portfolio about $100 million in value. So I think it's a very interesting entry point to see how it goes next week in terms of trading. So kind of went over the model. It's much like anyone else that you have in the space, in the big boys, the comparables, T-God and Aurora and all the canopies of the world. But what we're really doing is trying to use our expertise to elevate brands, scale them, and like I said, you go into the room, which we've done in the alcohol space previously. If Christy Brinkley was at one of these booths, I think there would be a nice gravitation to that booth to see why she's taking this particular product. That's just an example, but we're going to use artists and influencers to obviously grow and scale our brands. So initially, we're doing a North American approach. I'm going to go through the assets that we have right now. And then we're going to springboard that again throughout Canada and the U.S. and you'll see in the Caribbean as well as overseas and internationally. So again, our team of expertise is going to sit in the middle. We want to be able to fully integrate the investment dollars that we're putting to work with cultivation and processing, and then obviously distribute it and have it in the retail and have our various revenue streams. And then we're going to expand the model. I'll talk to you a little bit about some of the things and the ideas that we have in the influencer market and the folks that we're going to be working with as I go along. Here are some of the brands and the international footprint that we wanted to expand across not only this side of the country, this side of the world, across Europe, and eventually maybe the Pacific Rim. So this is what I was talking about in terms of how do we generate influencers and how do they basically show what we're doing in terms of brands, our clothing line, creating a buzz about what we have and targeting markets that, whether it be the millennials or an older folk that wants to listen to music when he first used, and now we're bringing that artist back to get him in that mind frame. So like the Woodstock folks, that type of thing. How do we leverage all of that to scale our brands and make sure that we can, drive revenue for the company? So we're going to be, doing more of an experience play, red carpet with some of our Weekend Unlimited branding. We have the Baker Fest, which is a bong fest. Key A-list DJs, entertainers. You have the Willie Nelsons, the Marleys, the Snoop Dogs of the world. We're going to go the entire spectrum of, A-list, B-list, C-list folks that have a very good influential market to drive, again, the brands that we have. So here are the brands. I'll talk about the three that we have wholly owned right now, and then I'll speak prospectively about some of the beverages and some of the edibles that we're going to have, and of course our acquisition in Jamaica. Jamaica is really interesting. Again, it's always known for their cannabis, and they're attached to the name forever, right? Jamaica Man, right? So I'll get into that, and then we'll go into some of the other wholly owned brands that we have. So R&D Pharma is the Jamaica license that we bought. It's a Tier 3 license. You can see this. This is actually a spec, but we were there last week. It looks very pretty on this slide here, but the fields are to the right when you walk in, and this is going to be more of an experience. It's Ochos Rios, and we're going to be acquiring, again, like I said, a Tier 3 license. It's 47 acres with a 44,000 square foot indoor cultivation facility, and then another 21 acres for outdoor. Basically, we're going to be utilizing the license to, cultivate, extract, brand our products. It's right by the cruise port there. It's very close in distance, so we want to have folks come off cruise boats, have an experience. There's going to probably be a zip line through the fields, the marijuana fields. There's going to be a cafe, and it's going to be a really good destination for folks when they're touring, as opposed to walking down the street and having a Jamaican person throw some shake into your pocket. This is actually going to be trusted, quality, controlled branding, and we're going to expand that. One of only 3 licenses, and I'm sure you know some of our competitors that recently acquired licenses there as well. So there's definitely a lot of growth opportunity on the Jamaican side. So moving on to Orchard Heights growers. This is our Washington State license that we purchased. It's out of Wenatchee. If people are familiar with Washington, we have probably over 300 days of sunshine out there. Very ideal growing capabilities there. It's fully functioning right now. We're going to upgrade with our capital infusion. The robotic sides, you want to have a state-of-the-art facility. So we seeded that, we purchased it. That's a wholly owned license for us out of the state of Washington. Moving on, we have Northern Lights Organics. This is another wholly owned in the midst of the middle innings of their licensure up in Canada, in BC. It's 600 acres. 300 acres, and again, this is spec, so this is the drawings that we're going to be building out. So this is a little bit more of a longer-term play, but we do believe we'll be licensed within this next 6 to 10 months. As you guys probably know, how that goes up in Canada, but with the demand for CBD and hemp-derived CBD, this is going to be a really good asset for us. Potentiality for future partnerships and whatnot. But it's going to be organic, much like the tea gods of the world. And we're going to also have a 68,000 square foot, full cultivation, grow rooms, and rolling table automation. So we think that that's going to be a nice source for us through Canada to roll out our other brands going forward. I mentioned before with the video, Jerome Baker Designs. Jerome Baker, Jason Harris is our partner. We acquired this business, a wholly owned subsidiary. Again, if you've been in this space since 1991, you probably have heard of him. He's associated with a lot of the Grateful Dead. He was actually, full disclosure, of course, you can read in all our filings. He was actually arrested with Chong back in the day and had about $1 million worth of inventory destroyed when, again, cannabis was illegal. This is a very interesting play. Jason's very, very connected in the space, and it goes along with our influencer model where, you want to be able to do business with guys that obviously are legit. They have quality product, quality control, and we're going to be dovetailing. Out of Vegas in particular, we have our Dream Factory where a lot of this glass is made, and we're going to be partnering with other companies, public companies that want to have display or, in their dispensaries have our product on the shelves. So we're really going to ramp up that division. Some of these glass pieces of artwork go for anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 a piece. Obviously, that's much more high end, but we're going to streamline this. We also have an office in Maui and New York, in Brooklyn. So. And again, we've gotten a lot of press with this huge bong that's fully functioning. So if you're out in Vegas, please stop by. Jason's usually there. Say hi to him, and you'll see our products being rolled out on that side of the business as well. So Verve is another one that we're in the midst of. It's very interesting as we see, sports and NFL, and there's a lot of buzz about CBD and how that affects athletes and whether or not they're going to allow it. And, it's been going on for a while, right? A lot of these athletes do consume, and it helps them, particularly on the CBD side. So Verve is an interesting deal that we originated. They're the official partner of the San Jose Sharks. They have a great success track record of revenue, direct-to-consumer historical Verve sales. And we're going to push this out on a retail effort and, of course, prospectively combine it and infuse it with some type of CBD along with our other beverage lines. So just look out for that. It's a really good, again, positioning with the San Jose Sharks. Hopefully, as there's a loosening of the CBD, we want to be able to be affiliated with a lot of the big names in professional sports. Champ Energy, another really great name. We're in the midst of acquiring. Again, it's very prospective, but it's a CBD water. You can see the packaging. Folks are, using it to mix with, a variety of different beverages. The specs on this I can obviously send to you if you want, but, it's 100% organic CBD. And we also have zero sugar, so it's an attractive play. So we're going to scale that as well. Now, this is our one of our ones that we're very, very close, and they're doing very well in the state of California. They're going to roll out. We have Canna Medibles and Canna Candies. It's right now 5 SKUs. You can see some of the, the packaging there. We're in discussions with a variety of distribution. And we have CBD-only distribution in play with New York, Florida, New Jersey, North Carolina, Texas, and California. Prospectively, 2019 revenue would be about $5.5 million, and we're going to scale that across the country and our other outlets. So historically, we've been about $1.2 million in that business. So you'll have to see that in the next coming weeks to be closed under the weekend unlimited. So I've tried them. They're very good. The CBD is very, very good. And I've tried the THC as well, which is very dosing accurate. So you'll feel comfortable using this product for sure. So this is kind of a chart going over all of the different acquisitions. Like I said, they're all in various stages, but in terms of diversification, much like every other company that you've heard, we want to be able to use this platform to scale brands. It's all about the brands. And we want to use, again, our weekend live division to, associate ourselves with, frankly, a lot of the millennials today, as you know, they don't want to just use something, they want to have an experience. And we're going to make sure that all of these things that we have in our portfolio are geared towards having an experience and really having a good time and creating a lifestyle and then attract consumers to that lifestyle. This is a little bit of the Wall Street side of things, cap structure. Again, like I said, we just raised another $5.4 million behind our 18 that we did at about a $50 million valuation or 20 cents. First round was done at 15 cents. So again, the valuation that we have as opposed to what we're vending in, I think is very attractive to investors right now. And we stand by our track record, given our Supreme deal, our investments in FSD, our 1933 Industries, and so on. So we're very comfortable with the bankers and the investors. We have the who's who list of investors in this deal, and we're very strong partners with Canaccord, who's helped us on a non-brokered and brokered basis. So we had 45 investors with us 2 weeks ago, like I said, down in Montego Bay to tour our R&D Pharma Tropican asset. You know the comparables that I was talking about, so this is just one that I think is very, very undervalued at this point, and you can see some of the valuations right now in the markets that this list of companies, maybe this call them the Seven Samurai, but frankly, we think that we have an ability to grow through acquisition and scale brands and utilize, like I said, to reiterate, the influencer side to move that forward. So our management directors, Grant is the master grower out of Washington, so he leads our acquisition strategy. He's been a farmer his whole life. He's a young kid and lived with his family. He's done about $20 million in revenue out of Washington on his own. Of course, Jason Harris, we're going to use his Rolodex historically for industry consultant in terms of the glass side and how we roll out. Cody is a friend and a former institutional sales guy. We reconnected recently, living in Washington. That's how we found Grant, and this is how this deal was spawned. Kevin is also an advisor to the company, probably coming on as a director when we trade. Michael's done all of our deals from the CFO side. In my background, I've been kind of on every side of the desk. Wall Street, a lawyer by training. Market maker, institutional sales. I ran a hedge fund for 7 years, last 10 years. Been investing, consulting. I sit on various boards. I'm on the board of a blockchain fund called 360 Blockchains, publicly traded. I'm also the owner and founder of Qualified Capital. We have an investment arm as well as a event business, and I also am the owner of an investment group called 420 Syndicate, where we're incubating assets. We have various properties that we're developing, 420 Advance, 420 Raise. We have a lab acquisition business called 420 Forensics, and you can get the theme. The 420 theme is pretty unique. So we have those. We're developing them on my personal side, and that's about it. I see a couple people just walked in. Sorry you missed the presentation, but I can, of course, send it to you. Open it up for any questions. Yeah, we are. So the vehicle that we're merging into, called Open Source Health, it's OSH on the CSE, never had a tracking symbol here in the U.S. which is actually a good thing. So we're going to be cleanly filing a dual listing here, probably on the QB or QX, within the next 3 months. So part of my board responsibility is to run that effort. I've done about 50 of these dual listings. So, as a director, I want to make sure that the U.S. market has the ability to buy and trade in their own backyard. Any other questions? Sure. No problem. Well, so Supreme was a deal that we founded back 4 years ago. That was part of our investment group. Was one of our first deals in the space. This is our third sort of merchant deal called Weekend Unlimited, and Weekend is a lifestyle play with acquisition of brands, deploying capital. That's right. Some of them are, because the beverage space is very hot right now. So we're looking to, again, acquire brands and businesses. We have the baseline, like every other company does, cultivation licenses. We're going to continue to do that as a baseline. But in order to create a lifestyle play and a branding play that sticks out from the 50 brands that are in there, I don't know which one to take unless I ask you, or maybe you tried it. So how do you, if I had someone walking down the red carpet with a particular brand on, or looks at our holding company, right, and knows that so-and-so, who is an influencer, is using that brand, we're going to utilize that methodology to scale the brands. Just like anything else. When you go buy vodka, soda up here at the bar, likely you're not going to get and buy Ciroc. Ciroc is a new brand, but P. Diddy and DJ Khaled have ran this brand through their demographic, and everyone's drinking it left, right, and center. So it's one of those things on how do you use this influential folks that have certain followings to scale brands with our capital and our expertise to make it into a lifestyle. So when you go to a concert or you go to an event, you're going to see our Weekend Unlimited logos. We have multiple logos, and you're going to find about our brands. There'll be probably a stand for Verve. There'll be a stand for Champ Beverage. There's going to be some... Exactly. Internationally. So we have right now for the month of October, we have an estate in California, Beverly Hills, where we're going to be throwing parties with probably folks that you've seen on TV or Instagram, and we're going to be vending that in as well in terms of having an experience, high-level entertainment, Woodstock. We will be partnering with them. Not them specifically, but let's call it groups like that. There are a couple of folks that are starting to do that. We know that some of the competitors that here, like let's call it the Men of the world, are doing some, I guess, I don't know what it's called, co-branding or promotion with some certain festivals. But we think that this approach is going to drive revenue for the brands that we scale and own. Absolutely. So, we want to make sure it's quality, and if it's well received, which we will already have our kind of influencer, folks that use and want to be behind a product, to go out there and tell them, whether it be directly or somewhat indirectly, to build that, revenue model from state to state where it's legal. And then, of course, internationally. Yeah, just Canada, U.S., Caribbean, and then we're going to be expanding into international markets. I'm based in New York. Our headquarters is in Vancouver, so we have an office in New York and Vancouver. We also have kind of a virtual office in Toronto. But certainly expanding with, again, the acquisitions. Jerome Baker has an office in Maui, New York, and Las Vegas. Again. it's so we're out on the hunt, and it's going to probably be a combination of both. So, like I said, prospectively in the state of New Jersey and other states, we are looking to acquire licenses. We're getting shown a license right now in Nevada. So we just got to figure out what is best for our shareholders to either license out or just acquire it, and that way we can just fully be streamlined and vertical. Anyway, you only live once. YOLO will be trading on the CSE on Monday. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.